Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. I am your host, Dana, and today we are talking about House of Stassi, episodes 7 and 8. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last episode in this series of episodes about House of Stassi. I covered episodes 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together, 5 and 6 together, and then today is 7 and 8. So you've been getting this drop of episodes for the past 4 Thursdays. And today, I should be on vacation when you are getting this, but I have pre-recorded this. And at the time that I am recording this right now, I am feeling super, super productive because I was recording like 2 episodes a day for like 3 days, and I was like feeling like I was on a roll. Really proud of myself, just trying to get a bunch of stuff out of the way for when I go away. But here we sit in the last couple of episodes, and maybe I'll leave my commentary for the end, but I will say that anyone who's listened to my podcast for a while may or may not know my process, but I have to watch everything at least twice. Like I watch it once just to watch it once. Okay, so the plan used to be 3 times. I've gotten it down to two, but it used to be three. And three was once just to watch it, once to like take pictures for memes and stuff, and then once to take notes. And so now not for memes. I just need some more time to process it. It's hard for me to like really pay attention the entire time, so I just have to watch it twice. Like I just do. And on the second round, I'm just more and more noticing how inherently and deeply selfish Stassi is, right? Like of course, and I said this in the past couple of episodes, so maybe I'm just being repetitious, but I'm sure she had every intention of trying to come off a certain way. Like not maybe necessarily like girl next door or anything, but she wanted to be liked. And I'm not saying that she's even playing a part, despite the fact that she's being very much the producer. Whatever it is that she's doing, whether this is her or this is a part that she's playing, I'm not like amused, and I just it feels very classic Stassi, but I remember watching Stassi from the beginning, now that I remember, and I was a little bit of a late bloomer when it came to Vanderpump Rules, okay? So it had already existed for a number of years, and I remember a friend of mine reaching out to me, the friend who had recommended it to me, and she was like, "How is the journey going? What do you think of Stassi?" And I was like, "She's a monster. She's awful." And she's like, "Right? She's the worst." So it's not like we found OG Stassi endearing, right? Like it was entertaining reality TV, but we weren't like we want to be like that girl. And now it's something different. Like I don't know, I can't really explain it. Like it's not like we want to be like her now either, but it's also like just less cute. Like I guess we excused it back then because she was young. We saw her grow out of it to an extent, or we thought she had. But now it just seems like girl, you really haven't grown. And to hear how much from people that and herself that she has not really done any therapy is just like wild to me. Or she's only really done couples therapy. I don't really know. It's really concerning because like you can tell how, especially in her fights with Beau, how much she fights with him as almost like a juvenile. Like she gets on the ground and like bangs her fists. And it's like, wow, look at that, right? And she'll say things that you can't take back, and she'll be really like explosive. And even just the way that she cuts people out, right? Like go to therapy for that. Go to therapy for the fact that you'll just ghost people instead of just having the hard conversation. You know what I mean? So, anyways, let's get into it, and then maybe I'll give a little roundup of my thoughts at the end. But Georgie has moved out and she is having a little housewarming party, and she invited her mom and her brother, and this is always a problem for Stassi. So her mom Dana and her brother Nikolai. And we used to love Nikolai, remember? Like Stassi is now like acting as though he is like the enemy because apparently something what did she say in the last episode? Something like whenever she would get in a fight with her mom, he would text her all of these mean, horrible things, and always take the mom's side. But it's like he's so much younger. He was probably like a kid when he was doing that. Like, give him a break. I, I don't know. So Katie ends up at the party. Katie ends up inviting Stassi to emo night, and she's like, "Oh, I can't stay up that late." Now, I love this like Vanderpump Rules throwback. We had emo night in season 11 of Vanderpump Rules, if I'm not mistaken. We also had an emo night in Southern Hospitality hosted by like the same guys. It's like this traveling emo night throughout like all of the states. So I think that's pretty cool that they incorporated that and we get to see Katie's friend Dana when we do get to emo night, but Stassi doesn't want to go. She's like and okay, I have to give Stassi credit on this one in the sense of like I can't go out that late either, right? It starts at 10:30. Like, my God, I've been in bed since 9. I cannot even imagine. But Katie really felt like in repairing their friendship that Stassi would show up for her too. Katie's like, I want the effort to be there on both ends. So she's really disappointed that Stassi isn't going to go. We'll come back to that later. But Beau ends up going back to work and he is absolutely loving it. But he and Stassi have not talked about his first day. She doesn't even ask. And it's like, again, like, I get that you don't want him to be there, but how can you not ask your husband how his first day of work is, right? Like, this is just, it's either pure selfishness or you really just don't know he exists. It's bad. So Katie, Christina, and Taylor end up like talking to the side because we're still like at Georgie's party, about being worried about Stassi and Beau and how they aren't communicating and how they're worried about divorce. Because Stassi and Beau are both children of divorce. They don't want that. And, you know, they're one of those. What I didn't realize, even though I brought this up maybe in a previous episode, was that we hear the term, or like, especially like on Love is Blind a couple of seasons ago, there was a lot of talk of like, we don't use the word divorce in our family. Like, we're not allowing that to happen. And I'm starting to see that a lot more here. Like, I didn't think that was a thing here because both of Stassi's parents have been married and divorced like 5 times. But I guess Stassi and Beau said to each other, like, no matter what, that's just like not a thing. But there's lots of people in this friend group who also thought it wasn't going to be a thing, and then it was a thing, right? So it does come back around, but we'll get to that in a sec as well. Sorry, there's a lot of circling back here. Um, Stassi's mom ends up using this party to talk to Stassi about their relationship. Her mom tells her that she's been to therapy and she's learned a lot about their relationship and why she's so smothering. And Stassi's like, that's not the issue. It's that you make me the enemy in the family every time. Like, there is an issue. And Dana, her mom, not me, is like, that's in the past, but you don't care about me. You don't care about my autoimmune disease. You don't care about the articles I sent you. And then her mom accuses her of sending her like mean texts. And Stassi's like, well, so do you. And then her mom is like, I've done so much for you. I've jumped through hoops for you, like when Patrick was around and you needed me. And that was like a decade ago. She's talking about Stassi's ex-boyfriend that she dated for 4 years, the guy who we only saw like at the very end, the guy with the man bun, remember? Um, okay, what is your point? Like, I was gonna say we don't know. Hold on, I need some water. I was gonna say we don't know a lot about Stassi and her mom's relationship. I will definitely take Stassi's side on the argument that they had way back when. This was in season 8, I guess, of Vanderpump Rules, the last time that we saw Stassi, where Stassi's mom and Beau are talking, and she says that you're up here and she's down here, sort of thing. Like, she would be so lucky to have you, and I hope she doesn't screw this up. And Stassi didn't end up talking to her mom for like a year. To each their own as to like how you want to handle that. But like, if you really think about that, that's a really awful thing to say. That like the boyfriend, the person you didn't birth, is up here and your daughter is down here and you're hoping that she doesn't screw it up. Like, God, I know she's joking, but like, Jesus Christ. It's And then here, you just see her like, yeah, playing the victim automatically. You don't care about my autoimmune disease. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, like, I don't know. I don't know. This woman is kooky. I will definitely say that for sure. And then Stassi is like, it's not like you want Beau and I to break up, but if we were to break up, you would kind of love that because you'd want to feel like needed and wanted. And Nikolai kind of jumps in to defend his mom, even though he wasn't part of the conversation and he takes it the wrong way. And he's like, what did you say? Sort of thing. And then Georgie comes in, and then she tells her mom that, like, she'll be the daughter that she needs. Because, I mean, what Stassi is saying is happening here, and I don't know if it's correct, is that she cannot be the daughter that her mom wants. So Georgie jumps in and says that I'll be that. I'll be the daughter that you want. I'll cuddle with you. I'll sit in your lap. I'll do all of those things. And she says to the camera that she thinks that her mom goes crazy when the camera is on her. And she's Team Stassi on this one because she was just kind of going at Stassi on her own show on camera. And I'm not really quite sure what about. I guess I guess she feels like Stassi is not being a good enough daughter to her, is what she's saying, right? And she's trying to guilt trip her. You didn't respond to all of the articles that I've sent you. You know what I'm saying? So then we get to emo night, and Katie is disappointed because Stassi doesn't come, but Beau shows up, and I think that that's really cute. And he's doing like the elevator, like up and down sort of thing. As I said, Dana Cathin is there. Beau is having the time of his life. The light is back in his eyes. And Katie wishes Stassi could see this so she could see how much fun Beau is having, so she can see how he's actually changed. This actually reminds me of when I was dating someone whose light dimmed. It may have been my fault. I don't know, right? It was one of those things where, like, I tried to do everything in the relationship to make it work. I tried to make him happy. Like, I felt like my entire existence was like, had become surrounded around trying to make him happy. And I remember we went to the science center for his birthday. It's what he wanted to do. I don't know how to explain what it is. It's the science center. It's like it has simulations and like it's for kids, but also adults. Um, and one of our mutual friends was like, he looks so depressed. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Break up with him? He broke up with me not too long later. But like, I remember, I don't know, like I remember, it just, I felt like that similar feeling in watching this scene that where Beau's light is dimming, or that's the terminology we use now. I feel like I remember that with my ex. I felt like that's what was happening to him in being with me after like a couple of years. His light was dimming. We have a scene with Stassi and Taylor where Stassi is talking about her relationship with her mom. And she says that she will always have a good relationship with her mom or some semblance of a relationship with her mom for her daughter because her daughter loves her grandmother. But one of her earliest and clearest memories was that she was 13 or 14 on vacation with her mom in Venice, and she told her mom that she wanted to move to Hollywood and to be an actress. And her mom responded, "What makes you think you can do that?" And Stassi responded, "Just because you couldn't do it doesn't mean that I can't." And Stassi says that ever since she got a little bit of fame, her mom has sort of always acted resentful because she made it and her mom didn't. So I am not entirely positively clear if what she's saying is at some point in time, her mom tried to be an actress. Because if so, okay, then this story makes a little bit more sense because that's just not something I knew about. Um, I don't know what to make of this story. I don't, I, my instinct is always to look at something like this and think about like who's in the wrong and who's in the right. I could see my mom saying the same thing, but for different reasons. And my mom is no angel either, sweetheart. So I don't know that what my mother would say is the right thing to say either. And I'm no mother either, sweetheart. So who am I to judge what is the right thing to say? I'm curious your thoughts in the comments. I really am. I truly am. I know it's like not the right thing to say, but yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think about this conversation. I really truly don't know. And then they start talking about Beau and how much Stassi truly appreciates him. But then she says that she can't sacrifice herself for the sake of him. She is just truly so selfish. I could not, like, I don't, she's so lucky to have him. She truly is because I've he is just so long. Sorry, I'm just at a loss for words because uh, he just feels like he's along for the ride at this point, right? Like she has all of these like little puppets, all of these things that she wants. I've got my husband, check. I've got my kids, check. I've got my best friends, check. And she doesn't feel like she has to nurture any of those relationships in any way and just expects them to just be there along for the ride. And I hate it. Anyways, so Beau hosts a dodgeball game for the group, and Stassi sits in the bleachers and is there to support, but of course is not playing. And Georgie has been working on her relationship with Georgia and actually took her along to Palm Beach for like a friends trip. So that's really nice that these two keep trying to hang out. And Rob tells Georgie that Georgia told Beau that he doesn't even like her. And then Georgie obviously gets very upset by this because she's like, What am I, like the devil?" And I'm like, did she say that organically? Because, of course, as we all know, that is Stassi Schroeder's classic A1 Day 1 Vanderpump Rules line. I am the devil, and don't you forget it, right? So so Georgie goes back over to Stassi and asks her if she is the devil. And then Stassi tells the camera, "No, I'm the devil, and don't you forget it, but welcome to the family business." Now, that felt very iconic. It felt nostalgic. It felt good. But again, I have to be honest, as I have continued to watch these episodes, I have started to resent her more and more and more. Anyways, I feel like that was not her intent. I'm so curious what other people are thinking. So Georgie approaches Georgia about like who said what in terms of who hates who. And she says that I didn't say that I don't like you. I said I don't like the way that you behave sometimes because you lie. Like, Jesus Christ. So maybe Stassi is right about her family, right? Like other people are noticing that Georgie lies. We're seeing her mom break down and be a victim, right? Like Stassi may be a lot of things. She may be like controlling. She may be a bad wife. She may be very, very selfish, but I guess she's not a liar, right? So there's that. Georgie feels like, if I'm so bad, like don't hang out with me and like get out of here. And then Georgia explains like this was how she felt before, and she doesn't feel like this about Georgie anymore because she feels like they have talked about it and worked it out. So Beau is sort of annoyed that Rob narked on him because the conversation getting back to Georgie's shouldn't have happened because it was like an older conversation. So it was like old drama. But Rob is just getting new to this, right? Like, so he's just learning. Um, and maybe he thought that the issue had not yet been resolved. But anyways, they realize they love each other, but irritate the shit out of each other. I still think it's cool that they have almost the same name. They have this like sisterly relationship by marriage in a way, and they've been able to like hang out and work it out in the US. And I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. Listen, everybody annoys everybody, right? Like a lot of people find me annoying as well. Okay. So Stassi invites two girls over from Vanderpump Villa to her house, Gabriella and Cher. And Gabriella approaches the topic of Stassi's cancellation. And she says that when she met Stassi, she knew nothing about her, which is funny because a lot of people, like even the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives people, the Vanderpump Villa people, none of those people knew who Stassi was. None of them watched Vanderpump Rules. Even the new Vanderpump Rules class, like the class of season 14 or 12 or whatever they're on right now, none of them watched Vanderpump Rules before. So, anyways, um, she was like, I knew nothing about this, but then when I got home, I talked to my friends and I saw social media and I was like, oh. So then we transition into episode 8 and we continue on this conversation. And Stassi tells the camera that since she was canceled, she has had to prepare for conversations like this all of the time, but she gets scared about it because she never knows how they'll go. Gabriella says that if she had known her at the villa, she would have just ignored her. Like if she had known, who she was and what she had done. And again, remember, Stassi was canceled in 2020 because she had called the cops on Faith Stowers for something that she did not do, just because she was wearing a jacket that was similar to someone who did do something. So Stassi was effectively canceled from Vanderpump Rules. She lost some of her sponsorships, her podcasts, all of these things and had to rebuild. But, a lot of people out there are saying there's like this narrative out there right now where people are saying that she was never truly canceled because like she still had some things in the media zeitgeist. She didn't truly go away. And she's even said herself that she's been doing this show or it's been like in the background or in the production, what's the word? Like in the works for several years now. So it seems like her cancellation was kind of short-lived, I'll have to say. But you know, it's interesting to see her have this conversation. Um you kind of want to laugh. She invites these two people of color over to her house to have a conversation about what she did and how it was wrong. Gabriella asks her if she's ever had a conversation about this with a black person, and Stassi says yes. I don't know if she means um because she did this interview right after she was canceled. Um and I think that that's the one that she's talking about, but I'm not sure if she's had it with like, like a friend. Kristen Doty didn't really have this conversation at all on camera, if you think about it. Like when it came up on the Valley in season one, it was more so a woe is me to Kristen when she got canceled. And it came up because she had accused Michelle of something. So Jesse brought up her cancellation. It was more of a the worst thing in the world is to be canceled as opposed to I've done these wrongs and here's how I made it right. I don't know that the right thing to do either is to invite two girls of color over to have this conversation because it feels obviously very produced. I mean, we know that the show is produced anyways, and it's like heavily overly no fourth wall produced, but you say that these two girls are very close to you. Are they? Because if they're not really, then this is like the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. If these girls are truly your besties, then maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I guess whoever else was involved in producing this, because she's not the only producer, right, told her that like you have to address your cancellation in some way. And we think that this is the best way to do it. Damned if I know. Damned if I know. But Stassi said that this is something she has to think about every day or something that she does think about every day. And Stassi basically said that the difference about her now is that she really tries to listen to people now. She knows that she doesn't really know everything, and she didn't even realize how privileged she was to be able to say whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. And that is a good, huge lesson to learn, right? That is something. We can't say that that's nothing. So if she has learned one thing from this, there's that. So Katie plans an emo Christmas because Stassi did not come to emo night, and Stassi plans to attend this one. Beau makes a joke to Katie about how Stassi won't even hug him, and it's just like getting really awkward. Like Beau makes these really like, what do you even call these kinds of jokes? Like passive aggressive kinds of jokes about his marriage, but it makes everyone kind of uncomfortable because it's sad. He decides to get Stassi's name tattooed on him, and at emo Christmas, he sort of walks around to see if she'll notice. And when she does notice, because she does, he starts like kind of flailing his arms around when Katie is talking about something. He's like, was it this big? Was it this big? And so it doesn't take her that long. She does notice. She is so happy. She is like tearing up with happiness. Like nothing makes this woman happier than knowing that a man branded her name on his body. Remember when Jax Taylor did it, right? So like this is huge for her. But at the same time, he's had this tattoo for 2 days and she has not noticed. So that just shows to Stassi's friends who are all there that there is even more reason for them to do some sort of intervention to get Stassi and Beau in a better place because their communication is obviously not in a great place. So Katie gets everyone together to game plan because they want to figure out how they're going to talk to Stassi and Beau about this. And Katie talks about something interesting that I didn't know about. And so some people have said online that this is something that Katie has talked about publicly. I guess I missed it. But basically, Katie says that, like, when you get into this place where you're not communicating at all, there's no emotional connection, that's when affairs start to happen. And she tells the camera that she herself found herself in a place where she was in a marriage where she felt very isolated, where she felt like they were roommates. And then she was starting to get attention from someone and she was getting that communication and she was getting that emotional connection. And she felt like the beginnings of something like that were starting. So I was like, oh. Is she saying basically that she had the beginnings of an emotional affair while she was still with Tom? And like, no shade, right? Like, I think that we all have our breaking moment, right? And I think it was probably something like that for her that made her realize, okay, I'm not getting what I need from this marriage and I need to get out. Other people have different sort of light bulb moments, if you want to call them, for when they decide to end their marriage. And it was something like this for her. But I thought it was really interesting to be able to get that from Katie. And that was just something that I personally didn't know. So the table talks about what Beau needs and how Georgie is just, just terrified to even do this at all because even though this is a reality show, she thinks that like Stassi's gonna kill them all, right? So they plan to have this intervention at their next group dinner, which is going to be on the Queen Mary that Stassi is super excited about. They're going to be doing like this ghost tour and boat tour or something like that. I never really care about the venue of things. My longtime listeners might know. Basically, they have to create these venues for us to have our fights at, for us to have our dinners at for these shows. This could happen on somebody's couch or elsewhere. It really doesn't matter. So I don't really pay a lot of attention to the venue of where things are happening. That being said, this is happening on a boat. It is relevant for, I mean, nobody dies, right? I'll give you that spoiler. Nobody gets pushed over or anything like that, but they are on a boat. So we get to the boat and we get past the ghost tour. We get to the dinner. And Stassi and Beau are like waltzing, and they actually seem really, really happy. So he's just gotten the tattoo. Now they're dancing together. So things do seem to be a lot better between them. Even Stassi thinks things are better between them. And so the friends start chickening out because they're like, should we really be doing this? And I have to be honest, like the fact that they think that this is a good idea is baffling to me. Like, I don't know Stassi super well, of course, but even I know that she is going to freak out about this. And it is such a tentative thing to get involved in somebody else's marriage. Like, yes, her friends are involved in her marriage because as people, sorry, there's flies in here if you guys are watching on YouTube. Um, as people, we always talk to our friends about our relationships. We vent. That's just what we do. But that doesn't give people the right to sit you down in public on camera and tell you what to do with your marriage, right? It's such a sticky, tentative thing. I don't know how else to explain it, right? Like I know they're on reality TV, but there has to be a line and there is a line. Like think about it. Carl and Lindsay did everything on television on Summer House, right? But Lindsay's one sticking point to Carl was, you broke up with me, you ended our engagement on TV. You should have done that off camera out of respect for our relationship. And he couldn't fathom that, but she couldn't fathom that he didn't respect her enough to do that, right? And I feel like this is that line. Like, you don't get involved in someone's marriage to this degree on camera or at all, right? Like again, it's like a very sticky, tentative thing. There's maybe a few marriages you could do this with, like Kyle and Amanda from Summer House, for example. And I feel like that was only okay because the rest of the house was very integrally involved in their marriage. But, and as much as I understand how everyone in this friend group is just trying to help, it's of course going to go awry. Like, of course, Stassi's going to get defensive. So, I just didn't think it was a good idea. So I just want to say that for the record. I never thought this was a good idea. So Teddy and Taylor, and when I say Teddy, she is on like a an iPad stand because she's in New York. They tell the group about their baby's name. And Taylor said it's her mom's maiden name and it's Beno, but the nickname is going to be Beau. And Beau is so shocked and happy. And Taylor's like, oh my God, he thinks we named the baby after him. Not really. But yeah, like the nickname, the day-to-day name is going to be the same, which is really, really cute. So he's so flattered. He's so flabbergasted. It's a really cute moment. So Stassi starts a fight because of course she does between Georgia and Rob. And it's something to do with what happened at Dodgeball. So I didn't quite catch this, but something like Rob said something disrespectful or rude to Georgia, like, oh, go back to your kindergarten and get your Play-Doh or something like that. Like basically talking to her like she's a child or something, basically talking down to her. So Beau is like, oh God, wasn't hoping to do this now, but yeah, he's apparently mad at Rob about it as well. So he's like, yeah, Rob, you should not have talked to my sister like that. And they go back and forth about it. And at the end of the day, Beau is like, listen, man, like, you've broke my trust. We're done. Like, you're still Hartford's godfather, but at the end of the day, like, we are done based on your actions. And then we move into the intervention and we just kind of get out of this. So never get to really find out what happens between Rob and Beau, but Katie interjects, starts the intervention, and she brings up how she's worried about Stassi and Beau and the possibility of divorce. She brings up like how Stassi had brought up the word divorce 2 years ago in Italy, but I don't know why we keep reverting back to that. Like just because Stassi brought up the word divorce once doesn't mean we need to focus on that issue. Let's focus on the fact that Stassi doesn't notice that her husband's beard is darker. You know what I mean? And that it doesn't have the salt and pepper thing, or why she can't like kiss him in the morning, right? Like we don't need to like focus on the fact that she like said something like sensationally one time because now she's sort of focusing on that. And then Stassi tells the camera that they need to stop projecting and that she and Beau will just like work through it. Because what Katie's trying to do is she's like, I've been through it. Georgie's been through it. She points to somebody else. Taylor's been through it, right? Like, but Stassi is taking it as like, oh, they're just projecting what they've been through onto me and they don't really understand. And Beau also gets defensive, which I was surprised about, but he tells the camera, like, my wife and I are fine and we're gonna figure it out. And I was like, wow, so of course, as I had thought that they were put off by this. But at the same time, in person, he sort of acts differently. But we'll get to that in a second because first Taylor is like, you guys got to try therapy. Why won't you try therapy? Christina tries to jump in with her moment, which was kind of weird. Like even her body language in this, it really felt like she was trying to have a moment. Like, I can't put it in any other way, but Christina trying to have a moment, but uses her whole body to say that, like, sometimes when she's with her kid all day, she's so exhausted and stressed. And then her partner, Max, comes home and he's all stressed from work. So she doesn't get to tell him about what she's experienced. So then they end up just feeling like roommates. And she's worried that that's going to happen. And then Beau ends up like telling Stassi and the table and America that, he sums it up perfectly. He says, like, you see the family, but you don't see me. And Stassi's like, what more do you want? And he's like, a kiss. And we keep hearing this, right? That's why I'm so confused. Like, why can't she do these little, sorry guys, why can't she do these little things? Like give him a kiss in the morning, give him a hug at night. Like she hasn't said yet why she's not willing to do those things. And truly, I believe it's because she forgets he exists. I truly believe that, like, if there were some pillows next to her at night and it wasn't Beau, she wouldn't notice, right? And it's just really, really sad. But she refuses to accept any responsibility for that. She just gets defensive all the time. She refuses to accept that there's any accountability for her part in any wrong in her relationship. I'm not saying it's all her, but it's a two-way street, but she can't accept that. So she just feels like she's done nothing wrong. And she's like, I'm doing the best I can. I can't do anything else. And Stassi feels like Beau is coming at her about the kids. Like he basically brings up this situation, not the situation, but you know, he says something to the effect of like how she can't handle putting both kids down on her own, and that's what their issues are really about. And she seems like really more so upset that he's bringing that to light on camera, because it sort of seems like she can't really handle her kids, and that's just like really upsetting to her. And she's like, I cry about this every night. She tells everyone to shut up, and she storms away in her classic Stassi fashion. Beau goes after her, and Stassi tells him that he should be saying thank you to her. And I'm just like, again, like she's not taking any accountability. And he's like, thank you for what? And she's like, I pay for everything. I do everything. And again, she doesn't understand. It's not all about monetary things. It's about like actually being there and being present and supporting your partner in other ways. This is so my mom. I think that's why I'm getting so heated about this because my mom was so the kind of person that was like, I do so much for you and this is the thanks I get. And to her, doing these things for me were always monetary things. Like, I bought you this. So, like, I bought you this computer. So, you need to be nice to me. And if you're not nice to me, well, now I'm going to come down on you for it. Right. And so, you can't just like throw money at Beau and expect that he doesn't need anything else. He's actually made it very, very clear that he does not care about money. That's exactly why he's going back to work. It's about the grit, it's about like the hard work. And so you can't just throw money at your marriage either. It's the same thing. You have to put work into it. So Beau feels like she is not taking any accountability. And she's like, what do I need to take accountability for? Like, give me a list of all of the things I need to do. And then he's like, I don't feel loved. Every time I want to have physical activity with you, you make it seem like I'm forcing you to do it. There's been regression in my own feelings. And then Stassi seems to sort of like fold into herself. And it's like the physical epitomization of my stomach is falling into my butt. And she sort of like crumbles. And I have to be honest, when I watched this scene both times, I got extremely emotional and I wasn't sure why. Sometimes I'll get a little parasocial, like trust me. Sometimes I will, and I'll get emotional about a couple I've seen for a really long time. And so I was like, is that it? Is that why I'm feeling this way? But it wasn't. I feel like I've been in that boat before, not that literal boat, not the Queen Mary boat, but I've been in that boat before where someone is telling me that their feelings for me have changed and I feel so gut punched. That's what she looked like. She looked like she was gut punched. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks too. I just felt those emotions really deeply for some reason. I don't know why, because it's been a very long time since someone has said something like that to me, but it felt like a gut punch as well. So that's sort of what it looked like. She's crying hysterically and she tells Beau that she doesn't trust him and she never wants to see him again. And ultimately, Beau ends up walking away. And that's just sort of how it ends. Um, with some like quippy lines from Stassi about like, needing to write all of this in season two type of thing. But like, it was really hard to watch. A lot of people on threads were just sort of like, are Stassi and Beau okay? Now, obviously, they've gone to their premiere party together. This was filmed probably at least 6 months ago, maybe more. She has said in the press that this show has made their relationship stronger. I don't know. Um, for him to say those very specific things, I mean, that's not just him saying, like, I need a kiss anymore. That's him saying, like, you make me feel this way when we have sex. And then they could end up getting to like that Amanda and Kyle territory or Tom Sandoval and Ariana territory where it's like, I'm not feeling like I'm getting any emotional connection from you. And, our intimacy level is completely changing. And he's saying that because of that, my feelings are regressing. Like that's a huge thing to say in your relationship, right? That's probably why she felt so completely gut punched. And so I feel for her in that regard. But like, how did they work on that? Did they go to therapy? Because I hope this wasn't all just swept under the rug to be like, okay, season two, because oh my God, right? Like, my God, that is so unhealthy the way that they're acting. I'm just so absolutely flabbergasted that she doesn't see her husband in this marriage. And it's so completely obvious, right? Like physically, not seeing the tattoos or his facial hair, all these things. And all he wants are like these very simple things. You're so self-involved and so selfish. You're not willing to do it. You've now put your entire family under scrutiny for everyone to judge and break apart. And I feel like you can only truly go on reality TV with your family if it is strong as fuck. And it wasn't, right? In her defense, she thought it was, but it's not. And so being on this reality TV show and exposing their marriage in this way, I think is going to be to their detriment. How can it not? How can it not? All right, well, tell me what you think in the comments, if there should be a season two, what you thought of the season. I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can watch episodes like today, and you can join the Facebook group. And I love you, BBs. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at the Bravo Investigator. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the Facebook page. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a 5-star review.